chicken parm, but we're doing it on the grill, and we're doing it with chicken meatballs and some soft polenta. We have about 1.5 pounds of ground chicken here. I'm gonna add a little bit of ricotta cheese. It adds a little bit of fat, it adds some salty flavor, and it makes the meatballs lighter. To that, I'm gonna add some flat leaf parsley. And if you get some stems in there, that's fine. There is as much flavor in the stems as there is in the leaf. And then we're taking a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Now, I like using a block of Parm because that way you know that there's no fillers in there and you get that really good aged salty pop from it. Nice good pinch of kosher salt, a little bit of cracked black pepper, and then we are going to add some breadcrumbs, 1 whole egg, little bit of ground nutmeg. It brings a lot to the party. My mom always used nutmegs in her meatball. 2 cloves of garlic grated, and we're just grating this in here raw. And then I'm gonna grate about 1/2 of an onion in there.
Do you have to grate it? Could you just chop the onion?
You could chop the onion, not a problem at all. I always grate it because my mom grated it, but what I think it happens when you grate it like this is when you grate it right over the meat, you get the juice of the onion too, which I believe helps with the moisture of the meatballs. So this is one of those things, this is how mom did it, so this is how I do it. I don't think there's a right or wrong. You could also put this in a food processor and chop it up that way. And then we just get this mixed together. And you don't want to overwork it. You just want to mix it till it all comes together smoothly, and that's it. If you overwork it sometimes, your meatballs will start to get a little bit tough because you start pushing the fat out of the meat, which you don't want. You want them to all kind of come together. So this pan is nice and hot. You could use any large skillet here, you know, cast iron, cast enamel, a stainless steel pan, any of those would work. We're gonna put a little bit of olive oil in that pan, and you can see the oil starting to smoke, which tells me the pan is hot and it's ready for me to start adding things to it. The easiest way to do this, I find, is with a large ice cream scoop. You could certainly do these by hand too. So we're gonna get them going with the scoop, form them a little bit by hand, and then let them sear off. So if you're making this indoors, the only difference would be is you would start them on your stovetop on a medium-high heat, and then you would move them from the stovetop into a 400-degree oven. So we'd get a little bit of color and char on them on our stovetop, and then we would work them into the oven from there. And I'm just gonna let these caramelize a bit and get some color. You're gonna get somewhere between 6 and 9 meatballs. They don't have to be perfect. You know, you wanna get that nice, good, round move to them, but we're also gonna cover these in cheese, and they're gonna melt, and oh my gosh, they're so good. If you try to move them in the pan too quick, they will stick. Once they're caramelized properly, they'll naturally release themselves. So you kind of get underneath them. There you go. We have good color. That's what we're looking for. We give them the flip. And you can see this is the hot side of the grill, so that's the hot side of the pan. So you could just continue to rotate your pan to the hotter spot if you need more caramelization, like that. Once everything starts to get caramelized, we drop the lid down. The heat's gonna raise to about 400, 450 degrees. These are gonna cook for about 4 to 5 minutes, just to let that color develop. So now we're gonna put in a can of chopped tomatoes, which is like 28 ounces. So we put in a cup of water, 28 ounces of the tomatoes, and then we just start to stir this up and work our meatballs back into that sauce, and then we could baste the sauce over the meatballs. We put the lid back down. We let these cook for about 15, 20 minutes, and we're in good shape. Then we're gonna finish them with the cheese. Next, I'm gonna start making polenta, but Lizzie is gonna be my polenta helper, because there's a lot of whisking with polenta. Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm good.
How are you doing? How are you feeling? You feel good about polenta?
Strong.
You're feeling strong. So,
Polenta?
wait, let me get. It's the great outdoors. I have water here over the grill.
Petals?
Yeah, but some petals are going in, which actually would be a nice little flavor. They're
It'll be
edible.
pretty.
So it's always 1 part polenta, 4 parts liquid. So you have what is that, a cup?
A cup, yeah.
1 cup.
One
So we have
solid cup.
4 cups of water. Because you don't, you know, you could use stock and you could use other things, but water works best. I'm gonna put some salt in there.
No.
And I'm gonna put some olive oil in there too.
Okay.
No, go on, you could
Go
whisk.
All right, so will this get lumpy at all if I stop?
If you stop, you have to, most of the whisking is early.
Right.
You know, so if you just poured it in and walked away, it would be a big clumpy mess.
Gotcha. So it's not like risotto where you have to really tend to it.
When I was a kid, you know, my yaya would tell us we had to whisk it constantly, but I think that was just to keep us
Busy and
busy.
out of our How do you know when it's done?
You just know. No. What happens is it absorbs. It absorbs all the liquid. So that liquid's gonna get absorbed. When the liquid is almost gone, then it's ready. You taste it to make sure it tastes smooth. For me, it's perfect when it's relatively thin. Some people like it thicker.
This is a good arm workout.
Yeah, this is gonna have triceps of steel when we're done.
Switch though, because one arm's gonna be.
You're gonna have one huge arm. That's why every Italian nonna has one very strong arm. It's
Okay.
the polenta. All right, so Liz is gonna continue whisking polenta for 30 minutes. The meatballs are simmering away. I'm gonna take a little bit of fresh mozzarella and just plop it down on top of every meatball, sometimes 2 slices, depending. And we're just gonna let that melt. So once this cheese goes down, these meatballs are pretty much cooked through now. They're about 90% of the way cooked through. If you wanted to check them, if you weren't sure, you would take a thermometer, put it in the meatball. You want the thermometer to read about 170 at this point. Put the lid over it, and then in about 4-5 minutes, the cheese is gonna be completely melted. Let me come over and give you a little bit of Parm. Oh, right there, yeah, right here. How about I do it right here? So a little bit of Parm to finish. If you wanted to, you could put in mascarpone, you could put in butter.
That's
I have
my
actually,
jam.
I have a little bit of butter. Do you want butter?
Yeah, throw it.
All right, you want butter?
I mean,
A little bit of softened butter, boop. So cheeses, butters, stuff like that, that's all bonus at that point.
wow, this smells so good and corny.
And oh, look at it.
It is silky and luscious.
Oh my gosh, it looks fantastic. I love polenta so much.
I'm a
All right.
phenomenal
And
whisker.
I'm gonna get, you're the best whisker I've ever seen. I'm gonna get these meatballs. Ready, you wanna dance?
Apparently you do.
I do. So, all right, look at the meatballs. Look at it, look at it.
Oh, yeah.
So we started these in the beginning. We've cooked them through the entire show, and now they are ready. And I'm just gonna set these down on our polenta. Oh my gosh.
That.
Oh.
And I mean, this is, you know, oh, look
everything.
at, there's the oregano. That's why you tie it off. Boink, see you later. You could obviously do this with pasta if you wanted to. There's just something about meatballs and cheese and polenta though that make me so happy.
Polenta and anything, really.
Little
What is
bit.
that?
This is the fresh basil. So, lovely.
Sauce looks and smells so good.
It's amazing.
And it's, you know, this is the great thing. A lot of times people now, there's so many great canned tomatoes out there, you don't have to cook a sauce for 1 billion hours anymore. And you don't have to put sugar in it.
I actually like it when you don't cook them because to me they taste like the acidity is a little higher and it just tastes super fresh.
Meatball, some polenta.
Really, we usually just eat right off the platter, but we'll pretend that we're polite
We're
and
gonna
civilized.
be civilized. Here, give me, I'm gonna make one for Liv.
Thank you.
Sorry for reaching across. You're welcome,
That's okay.
Liv.
I'm going to reach behind you and just give this a little shot.
Oh boy, look at that. What do you think, Liz? Come on. Yeah? Good?
She has no words.
Are you happy? Oh man, the meatballs are cooked through perfect.
Oh my God.
So good.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, look at the cheese.